It's like an unfair, it's like, I want to pinch myself. When I was the CEO of Run Gum, I wanted to pinch myself. I'm like, let me get this right. Google is going to pay me money to make commercials for my company. And that's exactly what they're doing on YouTube. The video that you make today for your brand is going to be out there as a little soldier working for you for eternity. Wouldn't you want a whole army of soldiers out there working for you for eternity? That's what YouTube is.
Welcome to the Backcountry Marketing Podcast. My name is Cole Heilborn. Today I'm sitting down with Nick Symmonds. He is a two-time Olympian. He has turned into a YouTuber, and he's also an entrepreneur. Nick, how are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. It sounds like you guys are busy crushing out videos these days, and so looking forward for the chance to chat with you today.
Yeah, likewise. Great introduction. Thank you so much. I guess I would call myself a serial entrepreneur. I've been building businesses since I was 22 and graduated college. Along the way, I did make a couple Olympic teams. I loved running and was excited to represent Team USA in 2 games. And when I retired, I started a YouTube channel. And so that's kind of my journey to where I am today. I'm 39 years old. I love fitness. I love entertaining people. I love inspiring people. And it was kind of a natural transition from, inspiring people on the track to then inspiring them on YouTube.
I got to imagine most people would look at your career and say this doesn't look like an obvious path. And I'm excited to dig in that in a moment. But today we're going to be talking about YouTube and the potential that YouTube has both for personal creators as well as brands. YouTube is a conversation that we talk about a lot on this show, but we have very rarely actually had someone, I'll say qualified in air quotes, to actually share with us some of the secrets behind the scenes, lessons, and things that you've learned as to how to actually leverage YouTube. And I know brands talk about YouTube all the time. They want to know should I be paying attention? Where should we be investing? How should we be investing in YouTube? And so I got a bunch of questions to get into, but in a moment, let's jump back in time. So I heard somewhere that you joined the cross country team in middle school or high school because there was a girl that you had a crush on who was also going out for the team.
That is accurate. Yeah. So I started running when I was 13 years old, and I was a soccer player, ice hockey player. I loved team sports. I hated running, hated it. It was a punishment, right? Like when you do something bad in soccer, they're like, go run. And you're like, no, come on. But I had this mega crush on a girl, and I was sitting by the pool with her one summer day. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking forward to soccer in the fall. And she's like, oh, I'm going out for the cross country team. You should join me. And I was like, I'm there. I love running. I'm signing up tomorrow. So I did, and I ended up being the number 1 on the team. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so good at this. I should probably keep doing it. Even though I didn't love it, I loved certain aspects of it. Being outdoors, the co-ed nature of cross country, just, the camaraderie of it. And so I begrudgingly kept running cross country and just got faster and faster. I won state in cross country my senior year of high school, but won some track titles along the way as well.
So fast forwarding quickly, you're trying out for the Olympics. How did you go from high school cross country to the Olympics?
Oh, it's just like that, So graduated high school, came out to Oregon to run. Really had no intention of becoming a professional. I just wanted to get a degree, and I wanted to keep running to see how good I could get. Got a degree in biochemistry, and I was going to go to med school. I had been a 4th generation surgeon, but I was like, I graduated in 2006, and the 2008 Olympic trials were right around the corner. And I'm like, you know what? I can always go back to medical school. I should really just see if I can make this team. Which, when I said it to like my friends, they're like, this is delusional, Like, I remember my grandparents being like, you're throwing your whole life away. And fortunately, Nike was willing to take a chance on me. They paid me a tiny little contract that just barely allowed me to live, and train full time. But it was all I needed. I just needed a coach and some gear. And that's the wonderful thing about running is it's a pretty simple sport. And so I just trained every day, all day, eat right, sleep right, train hard for 2 years, and ended up winning the Olympic trials in 2008, punched my ticket to Beijing to represent Team USA in the men's 800.
Going into that trial race, did you think you had a shot, or were you confident? Like, what was your mental state?
On paper, I was one of the favorites to make the team. But in my head, I was like, I can't do this. And I remember about 6 weeks out having what I would call a panic attack or like a little bit of a meltdown. And I just like, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I'm like, I get one shot at this. And if I don't get it, it's over. Like you don't get another shot most of the time. And financially, I wouldn't have gotten another shot. I would have gone back to med school if I didn't make the team. And so I remember calling one of my mentors. He had been the guy that recruited me out to Oregon. His name's Kelly Sullivan. I said, Kelly, I'm not going to make this team. I can't eat. I can't sleep. My training's getting worse and worse because I'm so run down. And he said, you know what, Nick, there's two types of runners when the going gets tough, when championship races coming around. There's the type that, rise to the top, and there's the type that implode. And he's like, you're 24 years old, and every single time you've gotten to championship season, whether it was state, NCAAs, U.S. championships, you have proven that you actually respond better to the pressure. He's like, this is your superpower. The bigger the pressure, the better you run. And after he said this analogy, he said the cream always rises to the top in these situations. And after he said that, I slept like a baby. I was like, I'm going to freaking crush. I'm going to put on a show. And it is what I needed to hear in the moment to bring my confidence back up.
So you went to the Olympics twice. Can you give us a highlight?
Bombed out of the semis in Beijing, overwhelmed, didn't know what I was doing. Went back and continued to train. I signed another 4-year deal with Nike after those games. Made a couple world finals, got a ton of experience racing in these international races. Won the trials again in 12, and I made the finals in 2012, which was the fastest race ever run. David Rudisha set the world record there. And I have the honor of saying that I am the fastest 5th place finish ever at an Olympic Games. My time would have won a medal in every single Olympics ever, except for that one.
No way.
So, yeah.
And you did medal in one of them, correct?
I medaled at the Moscow World Championships a year later. Yeah, I got the silver medal there.
Okay. So post-running career, when did you know it was over? Was it your decision? Was it an injury?
I'm going to say that there are two types of over in an athlete's brain. And for me, it was when it's over with regards to can I get better? And it's over when the money runs out, right? And so I knew at the age of probably 30, 31 that my lifetime PRs were locked. Like I was never going to run faster than what I ran in London. I was never going to run faster than what I ran in Monaco for the 1500. Like my PRs were locked, but I said to myself, I still have a couple good years in my legs where I could probably win another US title, where I could, really represent my sponsors well, and I could start setting myself up for what's coming next. And I would say I spent probably 31 to 33 as like a farewell tour. And then at right around 33, I was like, I physically can't run another step. Like my body was broken.
So in those 2 years, in the back of your mind, were you thinking, oh, maybe YouTube? Like, where did this kind of...
No, I hadn't even started thinking about that, honestly. I'd started a company in 2014 with my coach, Sam LaPre. We started a company called Run Gum, caffeinated chewing gum. I can go into this tangent forever, but we built this company up. It got into Walmart, Target nationwide, Amazon. So that was my exit strategy financially, and it was doing great, and I was excited about it. So I was like, oh, that's what I'll do when I retire. I'll start, I'll be the CEO of Run Gum, which is what I became. But it wasn't until I actually retired and the earned media that I had as a pro runner was through the roof. Like everybody wanted to write about me. Everybody wanted to write about the product that I was creating. The minute I retired, that earned media went to absolute zero. And so I looked at my business partner. I was like, we got to come up with something that's going to get eyeballs on the brand. And he's like, you're so good on camera. Why don't you just start a YouTube channel? And I was like, I don't have silly cat videos, Sam. Like, I didn't understand what the platform had become because I wasn't a consumer of the content. And as I went on and started watching how people like, this was early on, like Casey Neistat and Gary Vee were building these brands via YouTube. I'm like, oh, that's not that hard. And so I just started. I say one thing that I'm good at as an entrepreneur is I don't need everything to be perfect to get started. Like a lot of people are crippled by everything needs to be perfect. I need to have the perfect camera. I need to have the perfect microphone. I just grabbed my iPhone and I was like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm starting a YouTube channel, and it worked. Use what you got, right?
What were some of those initial videos? Like when you thought, oh, I could do YouTube, like what did you produce?
I originally didn't know what kind of content to make, but I knew that I had this unfair advantage that was having just finished a 12-year professional running career. And I had a lot of people following on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And so I just said, hey guys, I'm starting a YouTube channel. I'm going to answer all your questions. DM me a question, and each week I'll answer it. So literally, this was a video. Hey guys, what's up? Cole says he's training for a marathon. He wants to know what I would recommend his mileage should be. Well, this is a complicated subject, but I know it's important to a lot of you, so this is what I would recommend. I'd make a 5 to 8 minute video, 0 editing, upload it, and it would get views. And so I probably got to about 10,000 subscribers in the first year just doing that.
And what year was this?
2017.
Okay.
5 years ago.
Okay. And so fast forwarding to now, you've broken 1 million subscribers. You're no longer the CEO of RunGum. Talk to me about where you are today and kind of the quick history as how you got here.
Yeah, well, along the way, I was the CEO of RunGum doing the day-to-day operations, and then I was also this like front man and doing content creation, which is under a separate company called Nick Symmonds LLC. And I was able to do both for about a year, maybe 2 years, and then all of a sudden, the YouTube channel just exploded. And I went to our advisor, or our advisors, my mentor, our investors, the board. I said, listen, I can be the CEO or I can be the content creator, but I can't do both. And it's way easier and cheaper to hire a CEO than to hire somebody getting the amount of views that I'm getting on YouTube. And everyone was like, you are absolutely right. And also, you're not a very good CEO. Like, I say that. Like, I didn't know what I was doing at that level. I'm pretty good startup CEO, but once you get to a certain level, and we were doing millions and millions of dollars in RunGum, I was like, I need help. And so we did a nationwide search, hired our current CEO, Louis Kanganis, and I went all in on YouTube. And I think that's where we really exploded. In 2022, we started the year with about 500,000 subscribers, and we ended over 1 million. So that's a big growth year. Yeah, that's a big growth year.
And what I love about that story is that it's so fresh. Like, this has all happened in the last 2 or 3 years. Like, a lot of people think of YouTube as something you've needed to start at 10 years ago, but here you are.
Today's a great day to start a YouTube channel. And everyone always says like, oh, you know, that ship has sailed. There's no way to start a successful YouTube channel. I'm like, this is the best time ever to start a YouTube channel.
So for folks who maybe haven't watched any of the videos on your channel, describe some of the content that you guys create.
Originally, it was those, boring. I'm saying boring. People liked them, but just like I called it Ask Nick. And then I realized we weren't going to be able to get that big doing those, so we hired a videographer and started making running tutorial videos, and that got us to about 30,000 subscribers. And then I was like, this is so niche. Like, we're going to have to broaden out eventually. And so then I started making what I call like fun with running. So like I would go out to a trail with a pocket full of hundreds and a couple cones. And I'd set the cones up 40 yards apart, and I'd just be like challenging people. Hey, if you beat me in a race, I'll give you $100. And those just took off, like millions and millions of views. And so I did fun with running for a couple years until we kind of got to about 300,000 subscribers, and I saw we were plateauing. And then I broadened it out to what I call fun with fitness, where I'd challenge people like, hey, I'll give you $1 for every push-up you can do. Or, just silly challenges in the streets and like hosting fun events. Now I would say that's really kind of our sweet spot is fun with fitness, and the audience has kind of branded us the Mr. Beast of fitness. I don't know if I'm hoping your audience knows who Mr. Beast is. You should.
I would assume so.
Yeah, and I think it's we take a lot of inspiration from the way he edits his videos and like gets right to the punch, and the way that he hosts his challenges. But ours is very fitness focused. So if a Mr. Beast video is him and his buddies goofing around, mine is trying to highlight the greatest athletes that I can find.
And currently, as we're recording, you have an awesome challenge going on. There's an obstacle course set up in some warehouse, and you're offering
secret location.
You're offering what, 25 grand for folks who can complete this obstacle course?
The first person to complete it gets 25,000, and that incredible athlete showed up last week. If you want to see that, it's on my YouTube channel. It's the most recent video we've dropped. And he is just an absolute incredible human being. I mean, one of the most incredible athletes I've ever met. But then it inspired me to kind of double down on this. And this Saturday, we're running the fastest person who runs it wins $10,000. And we've got NFL players, CrossFitters, ninjas flying in from all over the country to fight for this 10 grand.
Wow. All right. Well,
yeah,
I know what I'm doing after this. I'm going to go check it out.
Check it out.
So obviously, you've had some success with YouTube. I'm curious, why is this a conversation that you're passionate about? Do you wake up and think about YouTube from the moment you get out of bed? And I guess why is talking about this idea of YouTube for brands something that's interesting to you?
I'll start with the first question, why I do it. I do it because it's fun. Like I'm motivated by having a great time. I don't know why that's my biggest motivation in the world. Just I want to make money, but I want to do it the most fun way possible. And I don't think that there's a more fun way to make money than YouTube. So that's why I'm motivated by it. And it is a hard job sometimes. There are aspects of it that I'm like, oh, this really is a job. But for the most part, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to like drop this video or shoot this video. I'm thinking about it 24/7. I'm out for a run and I'm like, oh my gosh, this would make this video so much better if we can pull it off. Why brands should use it is this is the way I describe it to both entrepreneurs and to brands. Like a lot of you marketers are out there thinking about CPMs, right? And you're like, well, if I go to Facebook, I'm looking for this CPM, or if I go to that, I'm looking for that CPM. What if I told you that instead of spending money to get eyeballs on your brand, Google will pay you money to get eyeballs on your brand? It's like an unfair, it's like, I want to pinch myself. When I was the CEO of RunGum, I wanted to pinch myself. I'm like, let me get this right. Google is going to pay me money to make commercials for my company. And that's exactly what they're doing on YouTube.
Why does YouTube still have potential for brands today? Because I want to get into some of the more tactical advice, the more specific advice for brands, but there seems to be kind of this misunderstanding or a difference in perception in terms of what YouTube can be for someone like yourself, who's a creator, versus someone like a brand. And
they are definitely different. No, well, I was going to say, if you can have a creator as part of your brand, that's the best. Like a good example is Dollar Shave Club. And that guy was so funny and understood the platform so well and made hundreds of millions of dollars as a result, specifically from one great viral video on YouTube. That's the power of the platform.
Interesting. So yeah, what is the potential for brands? Why should brands be paying attention to YouTube even in 2023?
Well, it's a great place to get eyeballs. Like I'm telling you, as a guy who deployed a lot of money in marketing with RunGum, like there's a lot of places you can just burn money. Like just set it on fire and you're not going to get anything for it. On YouTube, you're going to make something, and hopefully it's great, that is going to live on and work for you forever. It's not like YouTube just deletes a video after a year. The video that you make today for your brand is going to be out there as a little soldier working for you for eternity. Wouldn't you want a whole army of soldiers out there working for you for eternity? That's what YouTube is.
So when you look at brands today, obviously I think there's some that we talk about a lot on this show who are doing it well, but I'd say those are few and far between. What are some of the common mistakes that most brands will make when it comes to launching a YouTube channel?
Most brands are going to make a video that is very poorly titled. Like even if they have a ton of money and make the greatest video ever, they're gonna absolutely destroy its performance with a crappy title. They're gonna say something like, "Company X presents yada 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 featuring so and so you've never heard of," and no one's gonna click that video. It may be the best video on YouTube, but no one's gonna click it. Brands are they're so focused on, I need my brand everywhere. I need my brand in the title. I need my brand in the first frame. I need my brand in a watermark throughout the entire video. And no, you don't. You literally need to make great content and make a lasting impression with that viewer. And they're not going to go anywhere. In fact, they're going to start watching all your videos. And that's what you really want. And they're going to fall in love with, if I was to give just an absolute well done to anybody, it would be Yeti. Yeti's YouTube channel is so good. And when they drop a video, I stop what I'm doing because A, I know it's going to be great. B, I know it's going to be like something I'm super excited about. And they've gotten a lot better with their title and thumbnails. Because early on they were like, Yeti presents some guy you've never heard of fishing for some fish you may have heard of. And lately they've gotten a lot better with their title and thumbnails. And they're doing a better job of like subtly putting their products throughout the entire thing. Like somebody's standing on a Yeti cooler while they're casting. They're not like, buy this Yeti cooler right now. They're just subliminally telling you that these are the best products because the best people in the world are using them.
Okay, so I want to come back to that, the title and thumbnail, because that gets brought up all the time.
It's everything. It's like 99% of a video.
What are some of the excuses that you hear or you would suspect brands make to not investing in YouTube?
With regards to using creators or specifically building their own channel?
Open-ended question. Let's start with the brand channel.
Starting a brand channel, the brand has an unfair advantage, which is cash, right? Like most creators, like I started, were just horrible audio, horrible video, not great storytelling necessarily. Like we have to work for years and years and years to be able to afford the stuff that brands can afford on day one, right? So a brand that wanted to start a YouTube channel should A, get a videographer, B, invest in great audio, because audio is even more important than video, and C, just get a really like nice Sony or Canon, some nice DSLR camera, and that's all you really need to get started. And then you need to figure out what is your content calendar. So this is one of the biggest ones that brands mistake. They're like, oh, this will be super easy and fun. We're going to make a YouTube video and we'll have millions of followers afterwards. It's like, no, you're going to have to pay your dues like everybody else. I read this stat. Do you know what the average amount of videos that have to be uploaded to get to 1 million subscribers? The average to get to 1 million.
Ooh.
I did it in about 350.
Okay. Well, I would say
average.
I would say it's like 500.
3,180 to get to 1 million subscribers. But brands can do it way faster because those first 1,000 are really bad videos. So just get those right out, right? And then start with, and we kind of did this once I hired Ryan, my videographer. Just start right there. Videographer, great audio, great video, and then figure out what's the story you're going to tell and what's the calendar you're going to do. Because here's the second big thing that brands do wrong when they start their own channel is they don't understand their content calendar. They're like, oh, we'll just drop a video and go from there. That will not work. You need to figure out, are you the kind of company that's going to do daily uploads? Are you going to do a great video once a week? Or are you going to make the greatest video on YouTube once a month? Figure out what your business model is there, what your upload schedule is, and then you need to stick with it because your audience is going to be a little baby that has to be fed on this regular cycle. And I think that's one of the big problems that brands make is they just like they swing for the fences, and then if they don't get the result they want, they just kind of like sit back and be like, well, that didn't work. What do I do now?
So when you say get the first 1,000 videos out of the way, what mistakes are being made in those first 1,000, and what would you suggest that people try to learn or educate themselves on and bypass all of those learnings?
The very first thing that people are going to do on the platform is they're going to make a video that they think is good, and then they're going to make a title and a thumbnail to go with it. That's the exact opposite of what you should do. And we really started finding success when we started thinking, what is the absolute best title and thumbnail we can make? Like, that's everything, right? If you can't get them to like your title and thumbnail, what's the point if the video is good or not? Make a title and thumbnail that you're like, oh my gosh, everyone's going to want to click that. And then make a great video to go with it. That's the number one piece of advice I could give people.
That's really intriguing. I'm thinking about this from the brand side. I guess I'm thinking now this is kind of leading me into this thought of, well, what type of content do you produce? But you're suggesting start with the title, start with the thumbnail, and then determine the type of content. But
I think, I don't mean to interrupt, but you know how brands have like their voice, right? Yeti is outdoors and rugged but extreme, and Dollar Shave Club was funny. And, every brand kind of has their internal voice, and a lot of that comes from the founders. Lean on that. There's no right or wrong. You don't have to be funny. You could be inspirational. You could be extreme, but lean on the brand voice that you have and go from there. So if you're funny, if your brand is hilarious, you should be working with, comedians. You should be scripting these things to be the funniest video on YouTube. If your brand is extreme like Yeti is, they are out there constantly searching for the best stories. What's the craziest guy doing the craziest thing with fish out there? Let's go follow him. And that worked really, really well for them. So I would say, we're not a brand so much, but as a creator, we're building our own brand. It's really supposed to be inclusive and inspirational. That's what I was on the track. That's what people have come to expect from me on YouTube. Every video needs to, be inspirational and motivating.
Okay, that leads me to another question. Something that I think I've heard brands talk about is they say, oh, well, we want to make content, but we don't want to make it YouTube-y. We don't want to make it clickbaity. How do you navigate like that process? Because I can understand.
Then you don't want to be a YouTuber, right? So what is it like? 10 years worth of YouTube videos are uploaded every second, or some horrifying number like that. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be clickbaity. Why? Well, then why is anyone going to click on your video? You absolutely want to be clickbaity. And there's two different ways to use that word. I use clickbaity as you want to click on it. But the traditional negative version of that word is a title and thumbnail that doesn't match up with the content, right? So if I clickbaited you, I used this title and thumbnail, and you're like, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest video ever. And then once you click into it, it doesn't deliver on that. So that form of clickbait is bad, and you want to avoid it. But having a title and thumbnail that just makes you want to click on it, that is not only good, it's critical to success on the platform.
And I guess to use Yeti as an example, it feels like they have figured out a way to make titles and thumbnails and content, for that matter, that is clickbaity, but for their specific audience. Like, it sounds like it's very niche. Audience specific.
I would say it's still very niche, but they're telling stories, and I think storytelling is another great way to be successful on YouTube, because you have such high audience retention when you have storytelling, and we can get into the data of what makes a video work and what doesn't. But storytelling is a great way to maintain audience retention. And when you want a video to reach the masses, when you want the YouTube algorithm to promote your video, you need a high click-through rate and high audience retention. That is all that matters if you want a video to reach the masses.
So if a brand, I know this is a very, very vague question, but if a brand came to you and they said, Nick, we need help trying to figure out how to launch our YouTube channel. We need help. Where do we start? We don't even know what type of content to make, It's
a great question. For those brands listening, I'm happy to help. I've never consulted before, but I love talking YouTube, and I would be happy to help any brand that wants to start a channel. I would ask two questions. First is, what kind of budget do you have? And if a brand told me we have $1,000 a month, I could 100% make that work for them. I'm not saying I'm charging $1,000 a month. I'm saying with $1,000 a month, you can launch a successful YouTube channel. The second question I would ask is, what story are you telling? Are you just spamming them with product reviews, or are you trying to be storytellers, telling the most incredible stories of people who use your product, like Yeti? Are you trying to what is your story? I know what the goal is. It's to get views on the brand and sell product. But what's the story that you are going to tell in order to do that?
I see. And of all the brands that you've seen operating out there, what type of stories are you seeing being told? Are they all kind of like that classic Yeti style, or what's the range or the breadth of options?
I think a lot of it comes down to distribution. If you're an e-com player, you're trying to get clicks. If you're a DTC brand, you are trying to get clicks to your landing page and make sales. But Yeti's not necessarily trying to do that. They're just trying to build brand awareness. And a lot of that also comes down to how big is your company. Yeti's hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. They don't need to make a sale with their video. They need to build brand awareness and brand loyalty. But I work with a lot of companies as a creator who, they hire me to just drive traffic. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a small brand and you're like, I have to see an ROI on this, well, you can calculate that pretty well, because you can use Bitly links. You can track every single video. You can know exactly where that's coming. When I was creating for Run Gum, I was the number one, or my videos were the number one source of traffic to rungum.com. And we used links, and I could tell you exactly who was coming from my videos, what video they were coming from most. It was really trackable. So I think for brands that have a limited budget, that's a really nice thing about YouTube, is you can say, okay, this video cost us $10,000 to make, but it drove X amount of people to the website, who then converted to, ideally $20,000 in sales. That's the nice thing about DTC and e-com, is you can track all that. But I just recently worked with Athletic Brewing Company, which is a great brand that doesn't understand the platform completely, and we can dig into that a little bit. I don't mean to throw them under the bus; they're just getting started. But a lot of what they're doing is just brand awareness, and it's expensive to ship RTDs or drinks around the country. They're like, just tell people where they can find our store locator. And that's a great way that YouTube can be like, we are near you. We're in all 50 states. Check out the store locator.
So you're bringing up the idea of goal and understanding what your goal is as a brand for YouTube. I think a common goal that people always suggest YouTube being used for is brand awareness. And sometimes people just stop there and they say, oh, that's all it's good for as a brand. That's not necessarily true, though.
It depends on the brand, right? It depends on their business model.
What other goals would you see being viable goals that a brand could strive for beyond just brand awareness?
I think a brand can make a bunch of money on YouTube. I mean, everyone thinks, oh, well, we won't make a bunch of money till we have a million subscribers. Uh, you can make an absurd amount of money with like 50,000 subscribers. And I'm talking about not just selling your product. I'm talking about Google writing you checks. I remember when I was probably at about 50,000 subscribers, we launched a video that went super viral, and like 2 weeks later, I got a check. First of all, YouTube pays every month, once a month, on about the 21st of the month, but it lags a little bit. So you drop a viral video, you're going to get paid in like 4 to 6 weeks. And I remember, we were ticking along, making a couple grand here, $3,000 this month, $3,000 this month, and then one month I got a check for like $14,000. Off one viral video. And so there's great money to be made if you're a startup. There's no reason at all a startup couldn't be making $250,000 just on the ad revenue from YouTube. And that's with like just tens of, not even a lot of followers, because you don't get paid on the amount of subscribers you have. You get paid on the amount of views you have. And there are people out there getting huge checks from Google that have well less than 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, how can you break down further how the ad revenue breakdown is distributed? Is it
Yeah, so there's a CPV, cost per view, and we look at it as like kind of like a CPM, like how much are you making per 1,000 views? And it fluctuates throughout the year. We're in a downtime right now. You might see $3, maybe $5 per 1,000 views, but around Q4, you might be seeing $10 per 1,000 views. And if you're a super niche, very valuable creator in a niche like finance, you might be seeing $30 per 1,000 views. So generally speaking, on 1 million views, I expect to make about $5,000.
okay? Yeah, that's actually more than I thought it would be. Honestly,
It's juicy. It's juicy, and then as a creator, I'm also usually putting in other brands. So like with Athletic Brewing Company, not only did I make money on the views, but I also made money on mentioning their product in the in the plug in the video.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned this earlier, the calendar and the timing of content. I think you said at one point your audience is like a little bird and you have to feed them.
You have to, yeah.
Talk to me about the importance of a regular content calendar.
Yeah, again, when I kind of go back, like, are you a vlogger? Because, you could be a great vlogger. That's a great content calendar. It's stressful, but you're going to upload a video every single day or every other day. Our success really came when I was 2019, Jan 1, 2019. And we had a little success on YouTube, but I really wanted to go all in. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror and I said, I am going to upload a video every single week till the day I die. And all I have to do is make it the best video I can. And if I do that, I'm probably going to find some success. And that's not to say that the video we dropped Gen 7 was this amazing video. It was okay. But each week we tried to get better and better and better. But no matter what, I fed the audience one video every Friday for, what was that? 19, 20, 4 years. And that's, I think, what you need to do early on. Part of it's learning the platform. Part of it's learning to make a great video. Part of it's feeding the base. And you just have to pay your dues. It's only now, 4 years later, that I feel I understand the platform better and I understand what really works, that I'm comfortable leaving that rigid, we must make a video every single week. Now I'm really focusing on trying to go from 1 million subscribers to 10 million. And it's almost impossible to do that with average videos. You can only do that with phenomenal videos. And so I'm taking what was a video that we produced every single week, and let's say it cost me about $5,000 to make those videos. That's a $20,000 spend. Now I'm saying, let's make 2 videos a month, but put in, 10 or more into each one of those videos. And that's what creators like Mr. Beast or Ryan Trahan or Eric would suggest. You get to a point where average isn't going to allow you to have the same growth that you had when you were smaller. Now you have to be swinging for the fences every single time.
Is it the consistency that's important, the every Friday, or is it the cadence that you set? So every other Friday or every third Friday? It
isn't important what your calendar is. It's just sticking to it, because your audience is going to come to expect that. And even like a creator like Ryan Trahan, who makes he's a buddy of mine. He makes some of the best videos on YouTube. He once took a 3-month break. He's like, I'm burnt out and I need to take a 3-month break. And he came right back, and his audience didn't abandon him, because when he came back, he had an even better video than ever before, So like, it's okay to take a break, but I'm literally talking to myself right now. It's okay to take a break, but when you come back, you have to have stepped up your game.
Is there any factor that the algorithm plays in terms of release cadence, or is it really just considering your audience?
Yeah, I think it's considering the audience. If you're a vlogger and you stop vlogging, they're going to be worried about you, and they might go find somebody else to watch each day. So like, if you're a vlogger, you need to be a vlogger. When I was in this growth mode of 1 video a week, I told them, I even put it on my banner, like, you can expect 1 video every single week from me. And I tried to drop it on the same day at the same time. One of my good friends, Nick Bear, he owns a company, Bear Performance Nutrition, and he said, I make a video every single week and I drop it on Sunday mornings because I want families to stop and be able to enjoy it together on a Sunday. And a lot of his followers said, hey, we love that you upload every single week and drop it on Sunday. It's a family ritual of ours to watch this every Sunday before we go do a family outing. And I mean, that's just so cool. And I really wanted to be that kind of creator where people could expect a good video from me every Friday and enjoy it with their family over the weekend. But again, I think that every creator gets to a point where, maybe not, like, I could still find a lot of success just making a good video every single week. It doesn't get me as excited as trying to make the best video on YouTube every couple weeks. And that's what I'm trying to do now.
Let's talk about video length. I'm just kind of rattling through a few different things.
Yeah, those are all great questions
that folks think about, or I feel like I watch a YouTube video and these are things that people tell you all the time. So video length, does it matter?
Yes, absolutely. Not like, you still need to have audience retention. So just making a 20-minute video full of a bunch of fluff isn't going to necessarily work. But if you can make a really, really good 20-minute video, okay, I'll put it this way. If YouTube looks and they have a really good 10-minute video versus a really good 20-minute video with the exact same CTR and the exact same retention, they are going to recommend the 20-minute video exponentially more than the 10-minute video. Now, you might be wondering why, and it comes down to those mid-roll ads. Not only does YouTube run an ad when you click on the video right before you start watching, but every 3 to 5 minutes, they're putting another ad. So the 10-minute video makes Google X dollars, and the 20-minute video makes Google 2x dollars. You always want to be thinking, what's going to make Google more money? And those are the videos you want to make. So I believe it used to be 10 minutes. Now it's 8 minutes and 1 second. That's when they start putting mid-roll ads in. So we have a holy grail of YouTubing. We never, ever make a video less than 8 minutes because it's just not going to perform as well.
Huh. Okay.
That wasn't the case 10 years ago or 5 years ago even. But now in this quality over quantity mode that YouTube is in, it really has to be a good video over 8 minutes.
So people talk about the algorithm. They either talk about hacking it or they blame it. Does it matter? I mean, you're talking about YouTube as an entity and what they prefer and how that might affect your reach or your views. But does it really matter?
Oh yeah. I mean, Mr. Beast, and I love Mr. Beast so much because he's such a great guy. He puts all of this knowledge out online. Like, he's not trying to hold it secretly. Like, if you watch any of his podcasts that he's been on or interviews, like, he's just sitting there telling you what he knows after doing this for 10 years. And he said, every time someone uses the word algorithm, just replace it with the word audience. Like, what does the algorithm want? What does the algorithm need? What does the audience want? What does the audience need? You know, and as soon as you start thinking of it that way, the audience wants to be entertained. They want to see a title and thumbnail they're curious about. They want to click on it, and they want to know in the first 5 seconds that they're going to get what they clicked on. And if you've done that, and then you actually like make it a compelling story, you use a little storytelling to carry that through for 8 to 20 minutes, I mean, you're off to the races. But this is the worst thing that creators do, and brands, listen up because this goes for you too. You see a title and thumbnail, and you're like, ooh, I actually kind of want to see what happens here. You click in, they're like, hey, what's up, guys? Nick here. It's time for another YouTube video. Today, we're going to be talking about... That is just an absolute waste of time. They already know it's going to be a YouTube video. They're on YouTube, and they already know what the title and thumbnail, what the content should be. Just jump right into it. Give them exactly what they want in the first 5 seconds.
So, first 5 seconds, would you say that's the most important? Like, is that second to thumbnail and title?
Yes, thumbnail and title are everything. And then the first, maybe five's too quick. Maybe you get 10 seconds. But in every YouTube video, whether you're Mr. Beast or some no-name creator, you're going to see this huge drop-off in the first 10 seconds. And like Mr. Beast probably only sees like a 20% drop-off. And you're like, 20%? That's horrible. Every single YouTube video has a massive, massive, massive drop-off in the first 10 seconds. If you can reduce that to only 20 or 30%, that is a great hook. That is a phenomenal retention. You want to keep that first, and then people are going to continue to drop off throughout the video, but we really, really try to keep 50% retention throughout the entire video, and the only way to do that is to make sure that in the first 10 seconds you're only losing 20% of the audience. That's a really good video.
And what are people looking for in the first 10 seconds? What is your audience looking for? Delivery
of the promise that you made in your title and thumbnail. So if I say, well, what's a good one we just did? Like, climb this wall, win $25,000. That's a video we just made. It went viral. It's about to hit 1 million views. I said, if you can climb this wall, I will pay you $25,000. Full stop. I built an obstacle course. I invited the public. Let's see if anyone can do it. We're immediately into action. People are like, damn, is he serious? I actually want to see if anyone's going to take his money. And so now they're already hooked and they're already watching the action. And, it's just a question of how many competitors will they watch to see if somebody actually does it. In that video, they watched almost the whole thing. So that was a good video.
So when you're recording that hook, are you scripting that ahead of time? Are you like figuring out exactly what to say?
Yeah. So work back from title, thumbnail, and then figure out what the first 10 to 15 seconds of the video are. It can kind of go in tangents, and maybe especially if you're shooting stuff with like, the public, like it's definitely going to be run and gun and you're going to have to make decisions on the fly. But the first 10 to 15 seconds should be pretty well scripted. And sometimes we'll shoot like 3 or 4 different intros just to see what settles in best. We're like, oh, that's really good. Or the other day we went back in Cresswell where the warehouse is, the obstacle course is like a 30-minute drive. We drove all the way back just to record a new version of the intro. And, that's my time plus my 2 videographers' time. That's 3 man-hours for 10 to 15 seconds of audio that we needed, video and audio. I think it was absolutely. I mean, you cannot lose the audience's attention in the first 10 seconds. You know how hard it is to get someone to click into a video? Don't lose them in the first 10 seconds.
How forgiving is an audience? If they make it through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not. Because here's the thing. If I'm not giving them what they want, there are a million creators out there that will give them exactly what they want. So you just be the best restaurant, serve the best food, give them the best experience.
So let's talk about title and thumbnail. Obviously, I think by now people realize that it is important. For a brand, how do you create a title and thumbnail that is still honoring your brand guidelines, maybe your brand values? How do you make it compelling, though?
You know what? That's such a great question. Sometimes what we'll do is we'll have 2 different titles and thumbnails, and I'll lead with what I would call the least clickbaity. Like, it's definitely going to resonate with the base. It's going to deliver exactly what they want to see. And I'll run that for 2 weeks to let my core audience say, oh, Nick delivered once again. Thank you, Nick. But then I might change it to a super like clickbaity title and thumbnail because I know that it's going to get more views. Those aren't necessarily the most loyal viewers. They're probably not even subscribed to the channel, but I'm trying to get that video to go so I can make money on it. That's one strategy. I think a better strategy is just make the title and thumbnail great for both core viewers and non-core viewers from the get-go and just swing for the fences with the content. But, it can be really expensive to do that.
So when you're scrolling through YouTube and you're looking at all the thumbnails and titles, if you had to dissect what sticks out to the average person, what is it?
Well, it changes. It's funny because it's like there are trends that come and go. And it used to be the most overly photoshopped, heavy overlay, like comic booky almost thumbnails worked best. And then people got really tired of that. And then it went away towards what's the cleanest thumbnail. And now you've got, facial reactions are everything. So, call it beast face, where half the frame is like, oh, whoa, like that beast face works really well. And you have to have this expression, emotional expression in your thumbnail, or people aren't going to be inclined to click on it.
And title, what are some best practices there?
Clean. Like, less is always better. So like we're workshopping this title for this Friday's video, and it's so hard. It's like, ideally what I want to call it is Elite Ninjas Speed Run My Obstacle Course for $10,000. Because that is exactly what it is. That is way too wordy. Speed Run for 10,000 is a really clean title, but it doesn't convey enough of what the concept is. So then I'm like, well, can we use overlay on the thumbnail potentially to give more information? Well, then that's not as clean. It's a trade-off, right? So you have these levers. You have title, thumbnail, and you're constantly kind of like monkeying them around to give the cleanest, clearest, most clickable concept possible. And we'll workshop like 5 different thumbnails and 5 different title combos until we decide, yeah, let's go with that. I literally have no idea what we're going to title and thumbnail this video. It was a spur of the moment like concept I came up with on day 1 of shooting because somebody won on day 1 and I didn't expect it. So this is the rare case where we're actually shooting a video and then working backwards. And I don't like doing it. I don't like doing it because exactly where I am right now, we're going to pour in an entire day's worth of work trying to figure out the title and thumbnail for this video rather than just having it before we shoot it.
So you're going to, a day, that's an average amount of time you'd spend?
That is not an exaggeration. It will be maybe not a full day, but most of a day. Most of a day.
How many, if you had to be a specific and give a word count for a title, what's the maximum amount of words?
I'm pulling up my phone real quick. Let's see here. I'm going to go through a couple of ours. It probably doesn't come down to word count. It comes down to like character count, because you just want it really clean. I would say 5 to 8 words, like beat me in a race, win $100. Beat me in a race, win $100. That's 7 words. Cole, what do you think that video is about?
I have an idea.
Exactly. It's just so simple. And I opened that video. I'm like, hey, if you can beat me in a race, I'll give you $100. And then literally like 2 seconds later, I'm racing somebody. It's just like immediately giving the audience what they want. So
taking that, how do you pivot that understanding to a brand, which maybe isn't producing a video that's as, there's not a cash payout for the content?
Like, trying to think here. I guess I'd have to think about the brand a little bit and like what they're trying to do. But like, so like Athletic Brewing Company, and they're just fresh in mind because I was out visiting them in Milford, Connecticut, and I just love the company. I love the product. For those of you who don't know them, it's non-alcoholic craft beer, and it tastes amazing, but zero, lower calories and zero alcohol. If I was to tell ABC like make a video for them, I would do something called the Beer Mile, where you drink 4 beers and run 4 laps. I did this way back in 2012 and it went super viral. Every time I've ever done it, it's gone viral. I would have them host the World Championships of beer miling and bring in like some world-class athletes, but they're drinking Athletic Brewing Company beer, and it would be, I think it would go viral. I think it would have a good shot. Title and thumbnail, like Olympic runners attempt beer mile is what I'd call it. Something like that. Or pro runners attempt beer mile. Really clean, simple. I wouldn't hardly mention ABC at all as a brand. I'd just be like, hey guys, we're, and you're going to have somebody hosting. That's probably the hardest part for a brand is you need an on-camera presence. And I think you can hire a creator to be that person. You maybe have a really charismatic person on staff and they become that person. But you're going to need to have a presenter conveying the information that you want to convey to the audience in a fun, YouTube-y way.
That makes sense. So looking at the description of a YouTube video, title, thumbnail, how important is the description? Is that kind of like the hook that...
Totally meaningless.
Is it?
No one will ever read your description unless you have a creator saying, hey guys, link in the description below to get what you are looking for. But like if I'm watching a YouTube video, especially on mobile, it's a little different on desktop, but on mobile, like I click into a video, the description is nowhere to be found unless I click this tiny little arrow right here. And then it gives me the description. So as a consumer, as a user, you have to actively go and search that description.
If you had to give a percentage, how many YouTube videos fail because the thumbnail and title are not on point? Assuming the content is amazing.
then if the content's amazing, that's 100% title and thumbnail. That's the only reason that video is not going, is because people aren't clicking into it. So sometimes every creator, I call it dropping a turd. It's not the most polite thing to say, but like it's a dud, right? Like I thought this was going to go, but it's not working. And so then we'll go into the data and we'll try to figure out why isn't it working. If the retention's super high, but the click-through rate's super low, that's a great scenario. It's like, oh my gosh, we just need to change the title and thumbnail on this. I've had some videos that absolutely flopped. Like early on in my career, I dropped a video. I had this is famous Instagrammer. Her name is Claire Thomas. She's beautiful. She is great on camera. She has a huge audience. And we brought her down into, well, she's from Eugene, but we did a little, like, I called it fitness horse, where we like challenged each other to these different workouts. And, you know, just like horse and basketball, you'd earn a letter, and the goal was to not become a horse. And so we made this video. It was so good. She's just so good on camera. It's like a 20-minute video, all action. And I titled it Boy versus Girl Fitness Challenge. And it flopped so hard. I mean, no one wanted to watch this video. And I'm like, I don't get it. The video is so good. And so Ryan titled it Olympic Runner versus Instagram Model Fitness Challenge. And it immediately shot to 1 million views. And today, I think it has 3.4 million views on it. That's an example of a wonderful video that had a horrible title. And we didn't even change the thumbnail, I don't think. I literally think all we did was change it from boy versus girl to Olympic runner versus Instagram model. And that was enough to juice the video and just get it running.
Even though it had already been published. Like there's no...
Oh, yeah.
no...
You can't... So, yeah, that's why the flip side of that coin is, let's say you have a great CTR, but the watch time is super low. That is because you made a bad video. And there is nothing you can do about it to save that video. In fact, you may want to remove it. So... you can save a great video by swapping out title thumbnails, and YouTube will let you swap title and thumbnail all day long. You can't change the content once it's up. It is there, and hopefully it's good.
Does a bad penalize you from the YouTube standpoint, or just from your audience standpoint?
You can recover from a bad video. So like a lot of times I'll leave them up, and maybe they find their audience, down the road. But I don't know how the algorithm is written, but we call it the channel. We say the channel's hot right now. If you've dropped 2 or 3 really good videos, you have a much better chance of that next video doing really, really well, because the algorithm is like, oh, he's on a roll. And sometimes you'll see these creators that are on like a big roll where like every single video just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I think there's something to the algorithm that rewards you for being hot and consistent.
YouTube just released a podcast feature, or the playlist. They're creating more of a curated place on YouTube for podcasts.
That's cool.
Changing gears a little bit to this podcast side. What's your experience? Do you have any advice for us, for podcasters who are trying to make the jump to YouTube?
Well, first of all, I got a lot of respect for you. I tried podcasting, and it is so hard. Like, people think YouTube videos are hard. I'm like, podcasting's way harder. So a lot of respect to the podcasters out there. But how cool is it that you can be doing what you love, which is podcasting, and all you got to do is film it, and now all of a sudden you're monetizing your podcast somewhere else. So a great example of this is Lewis Howes. He's a buddy of mine. Phenomenal podcaster. The School of Greatness is one of the biggest podcasts in the world. And he's got 2 million subscribers on YouTube, and all he does is put a couple cameras of him and his guest, and there's no fancy editing, just a couple cuts, and they upload that, and he's making hundreds of thousands of dollars on YouTube just doing what he was already doing. I think that there's an ability for a podcaster to do what they love, which is podcasting, but make money by using that video on YouTube, posting that video to Facebook, Snapchat if you can get a Snap show, TikTok, Instagram. Podcasters should be taking their content, especially because it's great long-form content, and chopping it up into bite-sized pieces for every single platform, and every single platform will pay you money. Well, sort of. TikTok doesn't pay that well. Instagram doesn't pay that well, but Facebook and Snapchat pay pretty well.
So when it comes to a podcast, how do you think about thumbnail and title? I mean, because it's different. Because, in this episode, we've covered a number of different topics.
Yeah. So Joe Rogan does this really well because he has 2 channels. And he has the Joe Rogan Experience, where you're just going to get the full thing. And you're not going to be quite as clickbaity on that. That's really about, like, delivering to your audience who wants to see the video. And I think he does like, episode, what he's up to, 1000 and whatever, talking science with Neil deGrasse Tyson or something. And he doesn't have to be clickbaity. It's literally just, hey, if you like this podcast and you want to watch the video version of it, check it out on YouTube. But then he has Joe Rogan Experience clips. And those he uses a 5 to 8 to 10 minute clip with really, whoever's doing it uses really clickbaity title and maybe not the thumbnail, but really clickbaity titles.
Gotcha. So you'd recommend that as a possible best practice to split.
If I was a podcaster, yeah, I would have the video version of my podcast that was just for people who wanted the video version of my podcast, and then I'd have a clips where I'd put 8 to 12 minute clips of the best part of that podcast, and it might be like YouTuber Nick Symmonds admits his biggest fears, or admits the biggest turd he ever dropped, or some stupid like clickbaity title. And maybe there's like a reaction, like it's me in my square, but your reaction is like, oh man, that's the dumbest thing he's ever said.
Gotcha.
Or Nick Symmonds is going to get canceled for this one. That would be a great title. Nick Symmonds is about to get canceled for this ... Don't cancel me.
If we use that title, we'll give you proper credit.
All right, thank you. Your mind's racing now, huh?
It is racing. Talk to me about the importance of your audience.
Well, if you're a vlogger, your audience is everything, right? Like these people, for a vlog, and I've never been a vlogger. Well, I was for 2 weeks. It wasn't fun. If you're a vlogger, like you have this audience that is in love with you, right? For someone to sit down and watch somebody else every single day, you have to really love that person. Something about them resonates with you. Maybe it's their charisma or their story or the people they surround themselves with. But for whatever reason, you are willing to watch them for 15 minutes every single day. That is a very intimate relationship. And I think that we have a great relationship with our audience. It's maybe not quite on that level, but I think we could drop the most boring video with the worst title and thumbnail, and 100,000 people are going to click into that video. I mean, I 100% guarantee. It could be me just like watching grass grow, and 100,000 people will click into that video because they've come to expect a certain product from us and a certain experience. Now, if I dropped a bunch of those videos, they're going to be like, Nick, this sucks. We're leaving. We're gone. But we have this very, very loyal base that will watch whatever we make. But I want to always make sure I'm giving them what they want and taking care of them and making sure they're entertained. But I also want that video to be prospecting for more of those people. Like how do I get instead of 100,000 loyal people, 1 million loyal people that click into every single video I make? And that's where you have to, at a certain point, you have to really be, I call it swinging for the fences. I want a video that my base loves, but that even if you've never heard of me before, you are going to click into the video and be like, oh, I wonder what this guy's up to.
Do you define your audience? If you're starting a new channel, do you define your audience and then create content for them? Or do you create content and let your audience find you?
The most wonderful part about YouTube is YouTube, more than anything, wants you to have an audience. That they're desperate. They're like, we're partners. You give me great content, I'll give you a great audience. So I don't think you need to be thinking about your audience early on. The audience is going to find your content because that's what YouTube wants it to do. And then once you have that audience, then you need to kind of be hearing, hey, what do you guys want to see? The reason we created this crazy impossible obstacle course is because I asked the audience at the end of last year, if I could make you anything, if I could do any type of content for you, what would you want to see? And overwhelmingly, they said, build us a Ninja Warrior course. It's like, oh gosh, okay, that's not easy. But that's me kind of saying, I'm going to give you guys what you want. Just tell me what you want to see. And it's not necessarily always the videos that I want to make. If I was to make a video, I'd want to make an epic travel diary, travel to Africa and show off the most incredible Maasai warriors. But I don't know that that's what they want to see yet. I could maybe pivot the content towards that one day. But right now they specifically want to see challenges and great athletes tackling those challenges.
Is your advice any different for brands? If a brand is considering who they're making content for, do they just look at their consumer data and assume that that's their audience on YouTube? Or it could be their audience on YouTube?
I wouldn't worry about, if you're starting out, I wouldn't worry about the audience. Your audience will find your content, and The greatest thing about YouTube, so like if you're making content for some other platforms, maybe you have to really like cater it to that audience, but not on YouTube. YouTube will help you build an audience. That's what it's so great about the platform. That said, you need to be consistent, right? So if you're gonna like play in a niche, you need to stay in that niche. If you're a basketball YouTuber and you're making basketball YouTube's videos constantly, and then you're like, oh hey guys, I'm gonna make a travel diary about me and my wife's trip to the Seychelles. They don't care about that. That video will flop horribly. That's like not listening to the audience that YouTube has built for you. So if you are going to play in a niche, you need to stay in that niche.
So let's press a little deeper there. You have over time kind of evolved the content of your show. You started out doing just Q&As, Ask Nick, and now you've arrived at, contests and challenges and general fitness. How quickly can you evolve content? How quickly can you pivot away from your core?
It's a great question, and I always felt like it hit me upside the head when like, okay, we need to pivot, or not pivot, but like grow. And I'm feeling that right now. So let me explain. I think on our first call I explained it like layers of an onion. In order to be successful on YouTube today, because there are so many creators, the quickest way to success is to start hyper focused. So when I was thinking about like, okay, how do I start this YouTube channel? My unfair advantage was I was one of the biggest experts in the world on 800 meter running, specifically men's 800 meter running. I don't think, there's maybe like 2 people in the world that know more about this than I do. And they're not on YouTube. So I'm like, all right, I will tell you exactly everything I know about running the men's 800. And there are tens of thousands of people out there that want to know that information, right? And here's an expert giving them that information, but that is so niche that then I was like, all right, I feel like I've plateaued and I have all the people on YouTube that want to watch this type of content. Maybe now I should start making the next layer of the onion, which is how to be a better middle distance runner. Again, I'm still an expert, and that's still really pertinent to the base that I've created, so they're still going to keep watching. But now I've opened up my content to a much larger audience. And then you plateau at that, and you're like, okay, where can I go from here? If I went to challenge videos that minute, like that might not work. That's too big of a leap. But I went to how to be a great runner. So now my 800 meter loyalists are following along. My mid-distance loyalists are following along, but now I've got general running tips and people, from the running sphere jumping into that. Then I hit a plateau really clear. I mean, it's so obvious when I hit my plateau at 300,000 subscribers. Like it just wasn't growing with the same content. And that's when I was like, okay, now we need to move into general fitness in order to continue to grow. And if you look at most fitness content creators, not all of them, but most fitness content creators kind of find a plateau in that like 1 to 3 million zone. And I feel like I've hit a plateau with what we've been doing. And that's leading me again to be like, we have to keep pushing. How do I make stuff that my million subscribers love, but that the other, 2 billion people on the platform want to watch? So that's the next challenge, the next layer of the onion. And I'm trying to work on that.
How would you suggest folks find that initial layer of the onion to focus on? Obviously, you have the personal experience, and that helped you find that initial starting point. But for folks who maybe don't have like brands, like where do they start?
This is one thing I learned when I was raising money for Run Gum. Like talking to investors is hard, right? Because they're getting pitched all the time. And one of my mentors said, "Tell them your unfair advantage. What is the unfair advantage that you have that no one else has that they should invest in?" And that's what I would say to anyone starting a YouTube channel, whether you're a brand or whether you're, small, just an individual looking to start a channel. What is your unfair advantage? What are you an expert in? Or what are you so passionate in that people are going to feel that when you talk on camera? That's where you start. And if someone said, well, I'm just so passionate about fishing, that is way, way too broad. Okay, well, I'm so passionate about fly fishing. Better, still way too broad. Okay, I am super, super passionate about nymphing. You're very, very close. I'm super, super passionate about nymphing for brown trout in the Oahe River. Bingo! Start there. You are an expert on nymphing for brown trout in the Oahe River. I happen to be an expert on that subject, thank you. So, like, that's where I would start. And I'd be like, this is how you catch the biggest brown trout in the Oahe River. New record, you know, like just try to make it like grandiose. And then once you have this base of people that love watching you nymph for brown trout in the Oahe River, then try to like go catch a new species and see if they'll follow you there. And then pretty soon you're traveling around the world fishing for the greatest species, and you're the biggest fisherman content creator on the planet. You know, like you gotta crawl before you walk, before you run, before you sprint.
I've seen some YouTubers talk about, go to YouTube, type in search queries and see what pops up. And if things pop up, that's a great indicator that people are looking for that type of content. If things don't pop up, it also means that there's room for you to potentially create content that fills that gap. Is there a reason that if you did a YouTube search about a topic that you were interested in, like nothing popped up, is that a reason to be concerned that maybe this isn't a good?
I'd almost get more excited, like, oh my gosh, no one's touching this niche. But it depends on what the search query is. I think one thing to consider is that YouTube, I believe it's the second largest search in the world after Google. And so there are people like me, I was trying to figure out, I have a leak in my water main. And so what's the first thing I did? YouTube, how to find a leak in your water main. That is the kind of content that will never go viral, but will always be searched for. And so there is a strategy to build out a YouTube channel of just like, I'm trying to be the most searched for videos, but that's not going to go viral. Those will never go viral. It's just good content that will always earn money. I've never played in that space, so I'm probably not an expert on that, and I would leave it to an expert, but there are people making a lot of money on optimizing SEO and really targeting people searching for specific terms. There's also trend jacking. Like a lot of great YouTubers, when they're in their early days, will just try to like trend jack, like this specific topic is going off, and so I'm going to sit and talk about that topic, and has a really good chance to go. We did trend jack really early on when Eliud Kipchoge broke 2 hours for the marathon. It was so hot, especially in our niche, right? Because we were running focused, and I went out and made a video. Olympic runner attempts Eliud Kipchoge's marathon pace, and I dropped it like a week after he had done that, and it went to 1 million instantly, like in 48 hours. So that was an example of where my niche happened to be trending, and I jumped on the opportunity.
How did you do? What was your?
I made it 1,000 meters, not even 1 mile of his world record pace.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we're talking about you're talking about success. You're using view counts like 1 million. Define success. I mean, success doesn't have to be 1 million views,
and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be based on views at all. Right? If you're the kind of content creator who just wants to make pieces of art, that in and of itself is a success, right? Like I want to express myself through this platform, and I'm going to make these beautiful videos that make me really happy. And maybe they get 0 views. That's still a success in my world. But YouTube doesn't have to be all about chasing views and money. For some people, that's exciting, and it's exciting for me. But I think that there's probably a version of my YouTube career. Casey Neistat's a great example. Casey used to be the biggest vlogger on the platform. He said, this is work, and if you don't show up for work, you ain't getting paid. You need to be vlogging every single day. And now he makes 1 video every quarter, and I think that probably ends up being me in 5 to 10 years, where I'm like, I'm just going to make the most beautiful works of art that I want to make. But in this moment, I'm chasing views and money because I'm excited about that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think what I'm trying to say is there's many ways to have success on the platform.
Nick, we've covered a lot. We've got just a little bit of time left today. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you think is important to talk about? Anything for creators or brands out there?
Well, we focused a lot on YouTube because I'm a YouTuber first and foremost, but I love the term creator, and that's the term influencer is kind of passé now. I like creator because I'm not really I'm kind of trying to influence people, but I'm really trying to like create stuff that they like. And it makes more sense for us to use this umbrella term called creator, because I make a YouTube video and immediately that 15 minute YouTube video is chopped up for a 5-minute video for Facebook and a 3-minute video for Snapchat and a bunch of little stories for TikTok and Instagram. And so even though I'm a YouTube first and foremost and I make content for YouTube, we are syndicating that content everywhere. And if you are interested in making money on that content, I make money on the YouTube ad revenue, the integrations. Snapchat pays us, Facebook pays us, Instagram pays us, TikTok pays us. The number of ways to make money as a content creator are infinite. You can sell merchandise. You can get ad revenue. You could do an Amazon affiliates deal. You could do, I mean, it's jaw-dropping how many revenue streams are available to you as a content creator, if that's something you aspire to. And brands never think about that. They only think about one thing. I want to sell my product. I'm like, you should be focused on that, but you could be making a heck of a lot of money offsetting all of your marketing spend just by syndicating your content on these different platforms.
So if someone is listening and they're fired up, they're gonna head back to their marketing team after listening to this and be like, all right, we're starting a YouTube channel. Wrap some of this conversation up for them. What should they consider? What do they need to remember from this?
You should view your YouTube channel as a business. And any business that's about to launch, what does it need? It needs a business plan. So just being super excited and going into the meeting and asking for money, like if I was a CEO and someone came in and said, I want to start a YouTube channel, I'd laugh at them. And I know what YouTube can do. I'd say, you need to come to me with a business plan and tell me exactly how much you need, exactly where it's going to be spent, exactly what your upload frequency is, what's the story you're telling, what are the KPIs you need to see to continue to double down on this and invest in it. Like starting a YouTube channel, whether you are a business or whether you want it to be part of your business, it needs its own business plan. And I'm happy to help people create that. It's essential to having a successful YouTube channel is knowing what path what structure you're building, and then doing it right.
Amazing. Nick, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing. This has been a fun conversation. If folks want to follow along with you, I mean, it sounds like they just need to look for you on YouTube.
I'm everywhere. Yeah. NickSymmonds.com. It was actually mostly just a merch site now. But I can be press, PRESS, at NickSymmonds.com if you guys want to reach out. Or slide into my DMs. I respond to almost every single DM sent to me on Instagram. I love talking this stuff. I've never done any consulting. If you're an individual and you want to start a YouTube channel, just hit me up. I'm not going to charge you a cent. If you're a brand and you want to start a YouTube channel, I might charge you a little something. If you're a brand and you want me to feature your products in my videos, I'm always open for that conversation. That's how we make a good chunk of our revenue. So I love YouTube. I believe in the platform. I thank Google for making this possible. I don't have love for Facebook. Sorry, Facebook, you're kind of a pain in my ass. But I love Google. I really think that the platform, YouTube, and the company, they really want us to be successful. And I feel like I'm truly partnered with Google and YouTube, not like they're taking advantage of me. Like they want me to be successful.
Yeah.
And I'm not paid to say that. I'm not paid to say that. So,
well, they're kind of paying you.
Hey, they are kind of paying me, but we're partners. I don't work for Google. I'm partnered with Google.
Awesome. Well, Nick, thank you again. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we're looking forward to staying in touch and seeing what videos you guys continue to put out.
Thanks so much. That was fun.
All right. Bye.